Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Sir, shall we start now? Director, sir, shall we start now?
Yes, yes, you can proceed.
Okay. Nidhi, madam.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Okay. A very good morning to everyone. Now I would like to start this event with a motivational words of John Dewey. Is that education is not a preparation for life. It is itself. It is a life. So, on behalf of Department of Mathematics and Scientific Computing, NIT Hamirpur, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome all dignitaries, guests, and delegates at the opening ceremony of this e-workshop on cybersecurity and blockchain technology. I, Dr. Nidhi Gupta, would like to take this opportunity to extend my warm welcome to our chief guest, Honorable Director, Professor H.M. Shurivanshi, NIT Hamirpur. We are highly honored that our Honorable Chief Guest, Professor H.M. Shurivanshi, sir, is with us today. I also welcome the guest of honor, Professor Aprajita Oja ma'am, and as one of the experts of this course from the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, IIIT Jabalpur. We indeed grateful to you as a guest of honor for graciously and readily accepting our invitation. Now, without taking too much time, let me give a brief introduction about this event. In a recent digitalized world, cybersecurity is having the main role of defending the computers, workstations, servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and data from various malicious attacks. The use of cybersecurity can be seen in various aspects from business to mobile computing, like in network security, application security, operational security, and end user education. The major objective of this e-workshop is to provide lectures and training in the application areas of cybersecurity and blockchain technology. The motivation of this e-workshop is to promote cybersecurity, cryptography, and blockchain technology in real time. In this e-workshop, researchers can discuss and meet the advancements in the cybersecurity topics as they apply to communication systems and identify the new applications, technologies, and theories for blockchain. The main focus of this e-workshop is to discuss the current status of cybersecurity and blockchain technology and the research work in India and across the world. The participants will learn about the work in India, will learn about the real-time implementation of Bitcoin open source firewall implementation, and also will discuss that how we can avoid various type of cyber attacks during the hands-on session. At the end of this course, participants will be trained to develop the small projects using basics of cybersecurity through Python programming. I am glad to share that we have received a huge response for the registration for this e-workshop from the different parts of the country, from various institutions. like IITs, NITs, central universities, and private engineering colleges. Now, last but not least, I welcome all who are connected with us today to make this as a grand success. I heartily welcome to everyone who are present here. I hope this e-workshop will be successful and reach its goal as mentioned. And I wish all the participants to enjoy this session during these upcoming 5 days. Thank you very much, everyone. Now I would like to call our HOD sir, Dr. Pawan Kumar Sharma sir, to address the gathering and share a few words among us. Pawan sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
रिफाकत जी थोड़ा
If it's possible, mute all the participants, please. They are making noise.
Hello, sir. Pawan, sir.
Rifakat, unmute everyone except Dr. Pawan.
Yes. Okay, sir.
So, Rifakat, there is a provision in Zoom, if you see.
Hello. Ask to unmute. Ask all. Rifakat.
May I request,
Now I have
Rifakat, your kind attention, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So, when you click at the participants list, right? In the bottom, you will find mute all.
Yes.
And when you mute all, there is a provision that allow participants to unmute themselves. Please put that off. Don't tick that. Then you will be able to control it yourself. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. Thank you. Sir, now you can start, sir. I muted all the participants. Pawan, sir. Good morning, everyone. At the outset, Honorable Chief Guest of the morning, Professor H.M. Suryavanshi ji, Director, NIT Hamirpur, Guest of Honor, Professor Aparajita Ojha, IIIT Jabalpur, Dr. Yogesh Gupta ji, Registrar, NIT Hamirpur, Deans, Heads of various departments, distinguished experts, faculty members, students, and dear participants. It is my proud privilege to extend to all of you a very warm welcome to this short-term course on cybersecurity and blockchain technology through virtual mode on the behalf of NIT Hamirpur, Department of Mathematics and Scientific Computing, as well as on my personal behalf. This workshop is aimed to impart knowledge and training on blockchain technology and cybersecurity. In fact, focus will be on applications and advantages of blockchain technology in cybersecurity. During the 5 days of workshop, participants will be exposed to basics of these techniques along with real-life problem solving. I appreciate and acknowledge the effort put by coordinators, Dr. Rifakat, Dr. Nidhi, especially, and all faculty members of the department for selecting the topic and taking it to this end that today we have more than 400 participants connected with us, which justifies the need of topic, relevance of the topic, which clearly conveys that it is a well chosen. And today we are connected virtually with each other. Security basically refers to the practice of preventing unauthorized access, use, disclosure, disruption, etc. of the information. So cybersecurity, basically we refer to all this through cyber attacks. This, when we are talking for information, means electronic information. So through this, our focus will be on security of information from cyber attacks. Cybersecurity professionals continually defend computer systems against different types of cyber attacks. Cybersecurity threats refers to any possible attacks that seeks to unlawfully access data, disrupt digital operations, or damage the information. Cyber threats originate from various factors, including corporate spies, hacking activities, terrorist groups, hostile nation states, criminal organizations, and so on. The motive of cyber attack is not unique. There are many, a long list of motives can be there. The simplest one can be simply money. By halting the process, the attacker may demand some money to resolve. Corporations are also vulnerable to cyber attacks, but it is not the case that humans are not touched upon this. Nowadays, because of smart devices, our homes are even vulnerable to cyber attacks. Some of the cyber attacks, we can say that the network is blocked. Some softwares are installed so that they disrupt the operations and ultimately leads to the denial of some services by flooding the network or the system from where information is coming out. Looking at the scenario of today, there is no harm in saying that if unfortunately the third world war will happen, the internet is going to play a vital role in it. On the other side, blockchain is a type of database. That is the collection of information that is stored electronically on the computer system. So in this technology, ultimately, the focus is on safety of information from all these attacks. In the recent times, blockchain has become a magic word for organizations who are applying the technology to solve complex problems as well. There are numerous data points which testify to growing demand and salaries of blockchain developers. The skyrocketing demand of blockchain-related jobs has also translated it a significant salary bump. The salary range puts blockchain developers above or definitely on par with another such groups like artificial intelligence, machine learning, etc. The current workshop is aimed to impart knowledge on cybersecurity as well as blockchain technology. The participants will be exposed to basics of these techniques along with real life problems. I hope the participants will learn a lot in the cutting edge area of this technology by interacting with knowledgeable galaxy of experts with us during this course. talking about the department, our department came into existence on August 1st, 2009. Prior to this department was functioning since its inception as a part of Department of Humanities and Social Sciences, Department of Applied Sciences and Humanities, sorry. Previously, this department was part to this department since inception of institute in 1986. Presently, the department has 14 faculty members from diverse areas of specializations in pure mathematics, applied mathematics, and computational mathematics, who are actively engaged in the research and teaching as well. The members from the department, faculty members of the department have published more than 750 research papers in various national and international journals. The faculty members have successfully executed 16 major R&D projects, 3 projects related to modernization, upgradation, and creation of infrastructure in various labs. The department has also organized 3 international conferences, including ISTAM in the year 2001 and 2010, and then FIAM in 2018, and 2 national conferences, and around 18 short-term such type of courses, community development programs, summer schools in the area of national interest. The department has a vibrant research environment. Around 47 scholars have already completed their PhD degrees under the guidance of faculty members in the department, and presently 18 scholars are pursuing their PhD degree from the department. Recently, department has started BTech Mathematics and Computing 4-year program from the academic session 2020-21. All the seats in both sessions, that is the first session as well as second session, are full. Along with this, department also admits students in MSc Mathematics and Computing program. And I'm happy to share that the MSc students of this year have got placed in the companies like IBM, Dunjo, that is the core computer companies. Almost 50% students are placed, and those who are billing, rest of the students are not billing in placement. So in fact, we can say the 100% students are placed. Along with this, department is also offering engineering mathematics courses to all undergraduate engineering students, different open electives to undergraduate as well as postgraduate students. We have a good infrastructure to fulfill the needs of all science and engineering mainstreams. We have 2 laboratories in the department, basic and advanced, with softwares like MATLAB, Mathematica, MathCAD, and so on. So in brief, I can say that department has sufficient infrastructure for and state-of-art facilities for all the programs. I'm grateful to our director, Professor Suryavanshi ji, for being with us this morning as chief guest on the inaugural session of this workshop. And I also thank you, sir, for your constant support and motivation to organize such programs on regular basis. Administrative help extended by registrar, dean faculty welfare, and the official staff related to these offices is also gratefully acknowledged. I also extend my heartier thanks to other dignitaries, HODs, head of departments, deans, faculty members, staff of NIT, students of the department for joining the event and making it a grand success. I once again welcome you to this workshop, and I am sure that during next 5 days, we are going to be full of fruitful discussions. All of us will be benefited by sharing knowledge with each other. I'm sure that this program will enhance your existing knowledge base, will prove fruitful at the end of event. I'm also confident that you will enjoy this e-workshop. Last but not the least, I extend my sincere thanks to all the participants for joining this short-term course. I wish this course a grand success. Thank you. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your such inspiring words and being with us and motivating us every time. Now, I would like to request our guest of honor, Professor Aprajita Oja ma'am, to address the gathering and share a few words among us. Aprajita ma'am.
So very good morning to all of you. It's really a pleasure to be here. And I'm very happy to know that you are organizing these programs, e-workshops on very important, relevant topics like cybersecurity and blockchain technology. I can see that there is a large list of participants. I'm very sure that this workshop is going to be a great success. My sincere thanks to the organizers, and it is really such a good thing that the director, Professor Suryavanshi, keeps encouraging. So I have been participating in one or two previous workshops, and I've participated in these workshops, and I've seen that the enthusiasm of the organizers as well as the participants is great. I wish you all very good luck for learning these new areas on cybersecurity and blockchain technology. With this, I thank you all.
Hello, Nidhi ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for your such inspiring us and being with us and accepting our invitation. So we are very grateful to you, ma'am. Now, I would like to request our HOD sir to introduce our director sir, Professor H.M. Suryavanshi, to address the gathering and share a few words. So, Pawan sir will introduce.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Nidhi. It's my pleasure to introduce our chief guest, Director NIT Hamirpur, Professor H.M. Suryavanshi ji. Professor Suryavanshi ji is Professor Higher Academic Grade, VNIT Nagpur, Department of Electrical Engineering. He is a recipient of Abdul Kalam Technology Innovation National Fellowship by DST, Government of India, 2021. Professor Suryavanshi is Chair Professor, Indian National Academy of Engineers, Associate Editor, IEEE Transaction of Industrial Electronics, Associated Editor of Open Journal of Industrial Electronics Society. The area of interest of Professor Suryavanshi is power electronics, drives, resonant converters, multi-level inverters, renewable energy systems. In these areas, Professor Suryavanshi have published more than 150 research articles in journals of national and international repute. Professor Suryavanshi have completed more than 20 research projects. 4 are ongoing at present, which are valuing more than 3 crores. Professor Suryavanshi has a credit of 7 patents, which are granted, and 9 published patents. Based on the research work carried out, so many awards and honors have been conferred upon Professor Suryavanshi ji. Professor Suryavanshi ji have developed more than 12 products for research as well as for commercial use. Not going into much details, this is the highlights from the Professor Suryavanshis biodata. Not coming between the participants and Professor Suryavanshi. Now I request Chief Guest of the morning, Professor Suryavanshi ji, to please share his views with the participants and bless the participants. Professor Suryavanshi ji. Unmute कर दें निधि.
जी सर, जी सर.
Hello, good morning to all. Deans, can you hear me?
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to all. Deans, head of the departments, course coordinator and convener. Dear participants, on behalf of NIT in Hamirpur, I welcome you all in the inaugural ceremony of this workshop, Cyber Security and Blockchain Technology. Is scheduled from 23rd to 27th April 2022. At NIT Hamirpur, all faculty, staff, and students are working together to make better world place than the present time. The mission of the NIT Hamirpur is to serve humanity, to empower everyone to learn meaningful knowledge and diverse perspective, and to enhance the ability to make the decision for the betterment of the society. This institute currently has 13 departments and 9 BTech program, 1 BArch program, 2 dual degree program, and 22 master degree program. PhD program in engineering, science, management, and the humanities and social science. Apart from it, I would like to highlight the importance of cyber security and blockchain technology is useful in the current digitized area. Cyber security focus on protecting computer system from unauthorized access or being otherwise damaged, made unacceptable. It is a border category that protect all information asset, whether in hard copy or digital form. Cyber security is a process to control and to protect the system, networks, program, device, and data from cyber attack. Aim to reduce the risk of cyber attack and protect against the unauthorized exploitation of the system, networks, technologies. Cyber security is an important because the cost of cyber security breaches are rising continuously. This includes the social engineering, malware, ransomware, and it is very critical and board level issues. It is the mistake to believe that you are of no interest to cyber attack. Everyone who connected to the internet needs cyber security. This is because the most cyber attacks are automated and aimed to exploit the common vulnerabilities rather than the specific website or organizations. There are various types of threat, includes malware, blockdoors, DNS, poisoning attack. Generally, common type of cyber security are the network security, cloud security, IoT security, and the application security. Furthermore, a blockchain stores the information electronic in digital format. Blockchains are the best known for their crucial role in cryptocurrency system, such as Bitcoin, for maintaining the secure decentralized record of transactions. Innovation with a blockchain is that it is a guarantee of fidelity and security of a record of data and generate the trust without need for the trusted third party. The global law of blockchain is to follow digital information to be recorded and distributed, but not edited. In this way, a blockchain is a foundation for the immutable ledger or record of transaction that cannot be altered, deleted, or destroyed. I anticipate that the specialist will address this issue during the course, and I wish you all attendees a good experience. I hope that all of get from the experience from this workshop good knowledge, experience. Thank you all. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an inspiring work and being with us in this inaugural ceremony. We are very much thankful to you. Now, I would like to request Dr. Rifakatari for the vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Nidhi ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Chief Guest Director, Professor H.M. Suryavanshi, sir, NIT Hamirpur. Respected Guest of Honor, Professor Aryabhata Ojha from IIIT DM Jabalpur. Head of Mathematics and Scientific Computing Department, Dr. Pawan Kumar Sharma. Dr. Nidhi Gupta, Coordinator of Cybersecurity and Blockchain Technology. Respected faculty members and our most valuable participants. On the behalf of NIT Hamirpur, it's my pleasure and privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this inaugural function of the 5 days e-workshop on cybersecurity and blockchain technology, which is being organized by Department of Mathematics and Scientific Computing, NIT Hamirpur. First of all, we are very grateful to our Honorable Director, Professor H.M. Suryavanshi, for being the chief guest on this occasion. I would also like to thank our Honorable Chief Guest for accepting our invitation and grace the function with his kind presence and thoughts. We are thankful to the sir for extending his wholehearted support to make this program a grand success. Thank you so much, sir. I would like to thank our guest of honor, Professor Aryabhata Ojha ma'am, for accepting our invitation for this event. Thank you, ma'am. I would also like to express my gratitude to our head of the department, Dr. Pawan Kumar Sharma, for his encouragement and valuable suggestion to make this event a grand success. Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable support at every stage. I also would like to extend my thanks to our registrar, all deans, for timely administrative supports. Next, I would also like to express my sincere acknowledgement to all the faculty members of Mathematics and Scientific Computing Department for their hearty support. I convey my gratitude to all the invited speakers who will deliver the lecture and will enrich the knowledge of our participants in the field of cybersecurity and blockchain technology. I express my sincere thanks to each of them for being part of this event. Once again, I would like to thank our director, Professor Suryavanshi sir, for his initiative and cooperation and support. And I also like to mention here that the constant encouragement of our director sir motivate us to conduct such kind of technical event on regular basis. A special thanks to all the participants, because without their presence, this e-workshop would not have been possible to conduct. I thank all the participants for attending e-workshop and wish you all the very best for the academic future. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir. So here we are ending our inaugural session. Thank you everyone for being with us. And for the same session, we can use, for the first session, we can use the same link. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ma'am, when to start? Should we wait for 5 to 10 minutes, or as you say? Okay. Ma'am, your voice is not audible.
I was not able to mute myself. So
Yes.
there is a provision of making co-host. That would be great if you can make co-host so
To
that
you?
it runs
To you?
smoothly.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, ma'am. Sure.
On the right hand side.
Yes, sure.
So we can start right now. There's no issue. I mean, I thought that it is 10:30. So I think, so what's the time? Can you please confirm, Nidhi?
Ma'am, it's of 2-hour session.
10:30 to 12:30, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So as you say, we will start, or we can wait for 5 to 10 minutes for a break.
I don't know. I think we can start. If you have no other thing, then we can start. No problem.
Sure, ma'am.
Participants could, we are starting, so they should join that.
Yes. Okay. So here we are going to start our first session. Let me introduce our speaker, Professor Aparajita Ojha, madam. Professor Aparajita Ojha is working as a professor of in a computer science and engineering department in PDPM IIT Jabalpur since 2005, where she has also served as a director of the institute from February 2009 to 2015. With over 37 years of teaching and research experience, she has published over 65 research papers in reputed journals and conferences on various areas of computer science and engineering and mathematics, including AI and machine learning for computer vision, digital watermarking, video stabilization, geometric modeling, robot path planning, finite element method, and software maintainability. She is presently working on 2 important projects to provide AI-based solutions for Industry 4.0 and precision agriculture. She has worked on several major projects. She has visited a number of countries, including USA, UK, Japan, Norway, Italy, and Switzerland, in connection and as an Indian delegate for participation in conferences. Professor Ojha is a member of Board of Governors of IIT Kurnool. She is also on Board of Director of 3 power companies. She is also a member of Senate of IIT Nagpur. Professor Ojha is a chief investigator of Electronics and ICT Academy at IIT Jabalpur, an important pilot scheme of Ministry and Electronics and Information Technology to train faculty and students in the area of engineering and technology. The Academy has trained more than 8,000 pupils from different institutions across the country. Professor Ojha has delivered keynote lectures in various national and international conferences, including her presidential address at Indian Science Congress for the section Information Science and Technology, including Computer Science. Professor Ojha was awarded with Day1 Mehta Business School Award for her outstanding contribution in education in the year 2013 and 2016. So here I would like to request Professor Ojha ma'am to start the session. Ma'am, actually, I am unable to make you host. I am just
No issues. Can you
Ma'am, we are doing it, madam. You have to do it.
can you allow me to share my screen
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Wait.
or make me presenter? If not the co-host, then presenter.
Okay,
Then
okay,
that
ma'am.
will help.
Okay, ma'am.
There's on the right hand side, you will see something. When you more, then you click that on the right click, then perhaps you will get options. On my name in the list of participants, when you click on my name, on the list of participants, there is something perhaps more. When you click on that, you may get certain options. So it can be make presenter, make co-host, make something like that.
Now, sir, now you are co-host.
Okay, thank you. So give me a minute to share my screen.
yes, ma'am.
So once again, thank you all for giving me this opportunity. And I express my sincere thanks to the organizers. May I also request all the participants to please stop their videos, because that distracts the participants. So with this, I would like to start with an introduction to blockchain technology. So what is the motivation? Why we are doing it? Why we are interested in learning blockchain technology? If you look at the evolution of the internet technologies, there are so many services which are now online, digital, and then we have another very important concept called Internet of Things. With this, what has happened that the business processes and services, they have become highly automated. Think about anything. 10 years ago, we did not, we could never understand that how teaching could be digital, or how you can make small payments of 10 rupees to the very large payments of, say, lakhs of rupees in through a click of a mouse on your phone only. So applications are distributed over time and space. There are several types of applications, whether healthcare, whether insurance or education. Think about any service, they're distributed over time and space. But if you look at the core business like banking, or you say education, so institutions have their central repository. From there, they will be finding out the records of students. Banks will have their central authority and regulatory methods by which they will be able to give you the services. And similarly, audit, treasury, all these things are all central. They're highly centralized. And that is the major bottleneck for the growth of digital economy. For last 5-6 years, we have been talking about digital economy, but that is not truly digital. So what is hindering the growth of digital economy? Let's take a look at the current typical online transaction method. So if I look at the current transit, think of say Amazon or Flipkart or any other online payment, online purchase that you perform. What you do is that you buy using various, any channel, right? So we have a channel. I'm buying through a channel. So this channel will go to merchant's environment, and merchant's environment will be taking care of the order management, the e-commerce, accounting, whether the product that I wish to purchase exists or not, what is the true value and the corresponding tax at this moment of time. All these things will be done. Then it will forward. Now, for checking the stock or for checking the right price, it may also go to some cloud server from where it will be fetching the information. Then this will go to a third-party processor. Suppose everything is found to be in order, that is, price is as quoted already, the object is, the product is available. Then it will go to a third-party processor. That third-party processor is the payment gateway that you use. And this payment gateway will be approaching your bank, issuing bank. That is what happens in our case. And then this issuing bank confirms. Once it confirms, the third party also confirms to the cloud source. And at the same time, this issuing bank also pays the money through the gateway to the acquiring bank. That means the merchant's bank. So you can see step number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Order confirmation also happens simultaneously. 7, the transaction is made, and 8 is transaction received. All this happens in an online typical transaction that we see. Now, this is a long process, although it takes a very small period, but there are several things, and there are two central, not only two, there are various central authorities. So this is third party, accounting bank, acquiring bank, and the issuing bank. These are important central authorities which build the trust on the system, that your payment will not go astray, the product will be delivered, everything they make, not product actually, the product that is being delivered, you are paying for that, and the acquiring bank has received it. And then finally, it is the responsibility of the product delivery by the merchant. Now, so there are several central authorities that play a role in building a trusted system of online transaction. But we need a decentralized trusted system of transaction. Why? Because a lot of delay happens. Sometimes when you are making transaction, your transaction fails, and it takes 2-3 days to come, in some cases, so that your transaction, your money comes back. So we need a decentralized trusted system of transactions and supply chain for scaling up the digital economy. And for this, blockchain technology is a solution. So what is blockchain? Blockchain enables a secure way of peer-to-peer transaction. Suppose I want to make a transaction between you and me without knowing who's there on the other part, it is possible through blockchain technology. So it's a peer-to-peer transaction without involving any central authorities like banks. So blockchain technology was initially created to support Bitcoin cryptocurrency. You have seen that cryptocurrency is now gaining momentum, and a lot of interest is arising from all parts of the globe on purchasing, on the trade of cryptocurrency. So in recent years, the blockchain has been very effectively applied to a broad range of domains. What has happened that the Bitcoin cryptocurrency or any other cryptocurrency's success has led the researchers to think about the backbone architecture that is there, where a peer-to-peer transaction without knowing each other can be made. So using this backbone technology, which is blockchain technology, this backbone technology has been applied in many other areas as well, including finance, healthcare, governance, manufacturing units, and distribution units or supply chain, you can say. So blockchain, how they're related, blockchain and Bitcoin, Bitcoin and blockchain technology. So let us look at the Bitcoin. What exactly is Bitcoin? This is the one Bitcoin. According to the white paper written by pseudonymous author Satoshi Nakamoto, who is still not known, who is he? He was the one who introduced the concept of Bitcoin. So what is Bitcoin? It's a purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash, which would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. That means though no bank is needed, no central authority is needed, and you're able to make transaction. That is what is Bitcoin. So digital cryptocurrency Bitcoin provides a secure global payment system between two parties without involving any third party or intermediary. That is the best part of it. So it showed a way to have a one-to-one transaction between two parties by enabling trust. One thing is, which is very important, is trust and tracking transactions. So when you have a bank account, you can track the transaction right from the very beginning, the day your account was created. Every single transaction you can track very well. So it is able to track the transactions without ensuring without entrusting the record-keeping agency or any central intermediary. Please wait for a while for me to explain how this happens. So for example, think of two neighboring house owners who produce and consume electricity through solar panel, right? And what happens that they think about this and they can purchase and sell this commodity without the intervention of a profit-driven party like an electricity distribution company. Right now, if you would like to plant a solar plant on the top of your house, there are various methods. One is a storage method where you will be required to have huge storage system to store the solar energy. The other method is on-grid system where you will be whatever through the solar energy, whatever electricity you have produced, that goes to the grid of the power distribution company. And because you have produced electricity also, so the bill is reduced like consumption minus production. But you have no system by which you can share the electricity generated with your neighbor, and whenever you need, he will be sharing with you. There's no such system, right? So think about such a system where it is possible that without going to the central authority, we're able to exchange the electricity. So Bitcoin is not issued or controlled by any financial authority or government. And that is the reason there's a lot of delay in the application of cryptocurrency in various countries. In India, there are certain laws which are being made, and still people are apprehensive of making a legal, making it, people are apprehensive as to what will happen if something goes wrong, because there is no central authority. So people are asking what will happen if there is no central authority. Please wait for a while. So it is used to securely store and transfer any amount of value from any geographical location in the world to any other location. There are two parties. They can directly collaborate to buy, sell goods and services without the permission of the third party. For example, let us think of a house purchase and house sell. Now, house purchase and sell requires a central authority there is a record keeping agency which makes the registry of this transaction. And that registry is only in India is considered to be the valid document, the legal document for a transaction that has happened between two parties for purchase of a house. So think about such system which can directly collaborate to sell goods and services without permission of any third party. Also known as digital gold, it cannot be hacked or stolen. It uses cryptography, very highly secure cryptography to secure itself, right? Now, so to avoid double spending, now what is double spending? I will tell you what is double spending. Without taking services of a trusted central authority, Nakamoto, now this fellow is still not known because the privacy is so well defined that nobody can know with whom you are having transaction. So Satoshi Nakamoto identified two main requirements of a peer-to-peer transaction. First, that publicly announcing all transactions, because whenever there is a transaction between two parties, suppose I have got 1,000 rupees, you have got 500 rupees, and I'm making payment to you 1,000 rupees, and in return you are giving me some services. From 1,000 rupees, I'm also trying to make payment to any other third party and taking benefit of a service. Now, if there is no central authority, there will be no checking whether from this 1,000 rupees, I'm twice taking the services from party A and party B. This is known as double spending. So how do we avoid double spending? Now, if I'm making a transaction with party A for one transaction, for one service, and party B with another service, so party A should know that party B has also been contacted, and party B should know that party A has also been contacted, whereas the wallet of this person, me, contains only 1,000 rupees. So no, two parties cannot be given, I cannot make transaction of 2,000 rupees for two different services, whereas, so I'm committing that I will give you 1,000 rupees each, but because my wallet does not permit me to do so, how does this happen? This is the miracle that has happened making use of the blockchain technology. So first thing is that he said that publicly announcing all transactions. And second is that having a trusted system for agreement of participants on all transactions and their sequences. You must be thinking, what does that mean? Please wait for a while. There are two main questions. One is how to build an immutable, distributed public ledger. How to make an immutable, distributed public ledger. See, you have a ledger in banks, you have a ledger in academic institution, you have ledger everywhere where records are kept. Now, these records should not be tempered. We should have a record system which cannot be tempered in any case. And it should be distributed, like all the parties which are making transactions, which are part of the blockchain of the Bitcoin currency exchange, they should know what is there, what is the current state of affairs in the Bitcoin transaction. So second is how to build security and trust, which is very important. So, so how does Bitcoin work? So we have a network of computers, which is Node, which keeps track of Bitcoin payments and validates each payment. There is a network which validates each payment. So network consists of whom? Of the participants, of the people who are participating in the program, in the network. This Bitcoin network also ensures that each payment is added to an ever-growing list of all Bitcoin payments that have been made, right? by implementing the software program for validation, verification, consensus mechanism in a novel data structure called blockchain. So this is something which is at first glance, if you're for the first time attending these programs, so you may not be able to understand and appreciate what exactly is happening behind the scene. There's something called blockchain. This blockchain gives you a mechanism for validation of each and every transaction. You can verify at any point of time any transaction that has taken place, and this is all possible through a consensus among all the participants, all the members of the network. Consensus mechanism is there, and this is all possible through a novel data structure called blockchain. So blockchain is a decentralized, distributed, public, self-clearing ledger. It's a decentralized ledger. It's a distributed ledger, which is self-clearing. Say there can be many distributed services which may not be decentralized, right? Suppose computing. Right now, many of you might be using Google Colab. Collaboratory is giving you a distributed system where you can log in, you can make use of the GPU services, but who is controlling ultimately? It's Google, which is controlling. Central authority is there. So it's a distributed method, but it is not decentralized. We are interested in a purely decentralized method where everybody is having equal right. And what is meant by self-clearing here? The self-clearing means, suppose you have $500 in your pocket, and then from $500 in your wallet, you have spent $400 for some services and $100 for another services. So your $500, I have to, the ledger should be able to record all these transactions and should be able to say that, yes, your wallet now contains $0. So this is, you can say it's a self-clearing ledger. There's nothing which is cleared. Everything is perfectly recorded. By clearing, I means that all the transactions that take place, and ultimately the final state of the network is stored. The transactions that are taking place is something which is going online, and once that happens, the final state is stored. So that is what we mean here. Okay. So if I look at before Bitcoin, if you wish to have a transaction between you and someone else, there is your money, that is your bank, then through the credit card or any other method, a third party, and then this will be transferred to another bank, which is the other person's bank. So basically, it is a transaction where you have various methods. But after with Bitcoin, you have only a Bitcoin network where you can directly interact with a party on the network, with which you can do trading. Okay, so it's going a little slow. So blockchain structure consists of nodes or users that can be computers, mobiles, or any other computing device, a set of transactions constituting a block, and links between the blocks which make a chain. So that is why we call it a blockchain, right? So if I look at, suppose, a single transaction that takes place between two parties, so this transaction is recorded and it is time-stamped, right? Transactions are validated, broadcast, they are time-stamped, and once they are broadcast, then suppose there are several transactions that take place. They make up a block. So you can have 200 transactions, you can have 20 transactions, you can have 50 transactions. They make up a block because each transaction may not be of the same size. Some transaction could be of different size, some other transaction could be of different size. So depending on the number of bytes that you would like to store in a block, The block size will be almost the same, perhaps. And then you will bundle those transactions in one block. You call it a block. And then many transactions constitute a block. And then finally, what happens that many blocks constitute a blockchain. So you have blocks and they are linked. They're not like, you cannot put it isolated, they're linked. How they are linked? So suppose there are 20 transactions. Transaction of person 1 with person 2. Let me take this. So suppose there is a network, right? This is a network of people. Transaction 1, T1 happens here. Transaction 2, T2 happens here. Transaction 3, T3 happens here, right? Suppose these 3 transactions are put in a block. Now, the moment I say that this fellow has made 2 transactions was involved in 2 transactions, T2 and T3, this person was involved in transaction 1 and this was also involved in transaction 1. So this fellow was involved in 2 transactions, this fellow was involved in 1, 1 and 1. Now, they are having, each one of them is having its own wallet. They are having their own wallet. The states of the wallet will be changed because some transaction has taken place between these 2 parties. So that state changes. And so what happens that now these, so you have got T1, T2, T3. They are encrypted. They are not put like this simple transactions. They are encrypted and this block is formed. And this block will be having a address, right? This we call a block header address. This block address is embedded in the next block. Why? Because this fellow may again be involved with another transaction here. So I must know, the network must know what is the state of the wallet of this person. What is the state of the wallet of this person if this person involves in another transaction in the later blocks? So the state of these wallets or state of the network should be known. And that is the reason this address is embedded in the header or the address of the next block. So there is a digital data link between 2 blocks. So a blockchain is a sequence of blocks in specific order, and chaining the blocks makes an immutable record, right? So this makes immutable. So how are blocks added to the chain? What happens that through there is a consensus mechanism. Well, if I get time, I will definitely discuss what is the consensus mechanism. So consensus mechanism does what? Like suppose I make a transaction. So I will have to publicly announce it. When I publicly announce it, there will be other members in the network who will be validating, verifying whether this is correct or not. Like if suppose I'm announcing that I want to make a payment of 10,000 rupees to party B, I should have 10,000 rupees. So what are the sources from where I got these 10,000 rupees? So those sources will be checked whether from those sources some other transaction has already been made or not will be checked. And finally, it will be assessed, okay, I have got more than 10,000 rupees. So every verification will be done. And then people in the network will validate my transaction. And so so what happens that there's some kind of consensus that is made for validating the transaction. So through a consensus, a block is made. Next block is also made and is chained with the first block. The third block is made. The fourth block is made, and so on and so forth. It happens through a consensus mechanism. Blocks are added. So blockchain is maintained by a network of nodes, and every node executes and records transaction. Okay, and blockchain structure is replicated among all the nodes in the network. Like whatever transactions have taken place, the entire this ledger is stored in every single you can store as a node, you can store all the transactions that have taken place, okay? So a new block is added to a blockchain by a process called mining. What is mining? Mining, what happens? Let's suppose a block, somebody claims to create a block. I am a member in the network and I have collected some 10 transactions, and I want to say that, okay, I want to create this block, right? I will create this block because everything will be managed by peers. There is no central authority that will manage. So I've got 1, 2, I have got 10 transactions, and I claim that I want to create a block. So what is my responsibility? My responsibility is that all these transactions should be valid transactions. They have been they should have been verified by people in the network. And second thing, I should be able to create a block address, that is header, block header, right? So this block header should be consistent with the blocks of the previous block, within the blockchain, right? So this header, as I told you, should contain the address of the previous block as well, right? So this header should contain the previous block header and then the current block header. Now, because I want security and trust, I want to build the trust. So this block header, the task of creating the block header is something, in case of Bitcoin blockchain, it is a very difficult process. It is a very compute intensive process. How should I make this header so secure that it cannot be tampered? That method, that process of mining a number, which can be considered by embedding the address of the previous block, mining a number which can be a candidate block header number, which can be validated by other members to be the right block header, is known as the process of mining. In very brief, I have told you what is the process of mining, but this involves solving a very hard mathematical puzzle. This requires solving a hard mathematical puzzle, and therefore one should have to create the block. One should have a very high computing resource, right? So nodes that perform mining are called miners. So not everybody like you and me will be having the facility, because there are thousands and thousands of application-specific integrated circuit-based ASIC computers, which are all put in clusters, and those miners keep solving those very hard puzzles, and then they claim a block. So any new transaction is broadcast to all the nodes in the network, and each miner node creates its own block by collecting new transaction and finding a proof of work. What is this proof of work? Solving that puzzle is known as the proof of work. If I am trying to solve a puzzle, then I will be called a miner. So proof of work, and then because I have solved the puzzle, I will give the solution and the answer to the puzzle to the people in the network. They will be validating, yes, the answer is correct, right? So miners verify transactions, broadcast transactions, and also compete. Mind you, they compete to claim the right to create a block. Why? Why they should be competing? Why they should be competing? Any guesses? Why one should compete? I seek answers from you. Any guesses? Why they should compete? Yes, security can be maintained. Yes. But for only for the sake of security, I will be creating thousands of ASIC computers. Why I should be doing this? To earn Bitcoin, Pramod says. Yes, Pramod, how do I earn Bitcoin? Two parties have done transactions. I'm only recording those transactions and putting them in block. Miners are paid for mining. This is what they say. That is what is the answer. In fact, what happens, miners taking part in the process of creation of a new block are incentivized. That means actually they are playing a very important role in building the trust in the system. So they are incentivized using Bitcoins. So this is not that they will, once a block is added, it requires huge computing power. Yes, I know. So I agree with you. So these efforts in managing the blockchain are recognized in this because they are the people who are managing, right? They are paid because they are managing the network, they're building the trust in the system. So the miners collectively work on reaching a consensus, right? By validating the block, broadcasting the newly created block. So suppose I have claimed that I have got the proof of work, I've got the answer to the puzzle. And for solving the puzzle, I required a huge computing resource. But for validating, for verifying whether the answer is correct, I may not require very huge resource. So one is a winning block, the person who has created the block. And if it is found that, okay, his answer is correct, then the block is added. So who validates that the answer is correct? Only those miners, right? So let me tell you one simple example. If I ask you to solve this quadratic equation, right? What will you do? You will apply a method like solution, like roots will be equal to R is equal to minus B plus minus B square minus 4AC, right? Divided by 2A. I'm doing this calculation, right? So here minus B makes it plus 1, then plus minus B square is 1, and then minus 4 and A and C. So it is plus 4. So, and then 2. So I get 1 plus minus root 5 divided by 2. What I did calculations, right? But if I ask you to check whether this is a solution to this equation, what will you do? You will simply substitute here 1 plus square root 5 divided by 2 square minus 1 plus square root 5 divided by 2 minus 1 is equal to 0 or not. You will only check this. What I intend to say here is that solving the mathematical puzzle is harder than verifying whether the answer to that puzzle is correct or not. So what happens that some people will be solving the puzzle, and the person who wins by giving you the right answer to the puzzle, will be, his answers will be validated by other members who may not be having very high computing resources, but they are able to validate. Right. So this is what is here done in validating. So miners collectively work on reaching a consensus by validating the block broadcasting the newly created block, and confirming a transaction. So out of all the competing miners who take part in block creation, the one who wins in performing the complex mathematical computation of a given difficulty level is a difficulty level. Like if suppose blocks are created very quickly, then the difficulty level will be raised. If the blocks creation is becoming too hard, then the difficulty level will be a little lowered. So it's a new block creation edition, he will be given the incentive. So summarizing, a blockchain is a distributed ledger technology that facilitates digital asset transaction in a trustless peer-to-peer network. It's a peer-to-peer network which is completely trustless. Nobody knows anyone else, his peer. So a block stores a set of transactions, and blocks form a chain through a secure digital link of verification, validation, and consensus among all the participants, right? And a new block is added to the blockchain by a process called mining. All transactions are secure, transparent, and immutable. In a nutshell, the blockchain technology is envisioned to bring a radical transformation. Dr. Pawan Sharma was talking about blockchain, and he said that it's going to be on par, if not better than AI. My dear students and participants who are here, who are participating, teachers from various colleges, I would like to tell that it is understood to be a technology which is at par with, say, electricity, right, or internet. So when the first bulb, people thought that, okay, Thomas Alva Edison did something, right? And bulb was blown, right? So was lit. And people never thought that this single instance of invention is going to bring so much of change in the life of people on this earth that today we cannot survive without electricity, right? Second, internet. In 1990s, early, even late 80s, when we were doing emails, we were making early 90s, I remember, we had to mail somebody. So first I will write offline mail, then this will go to some server. From there, the mail will be received by someone else or through their servers. So it was completely centralized system, and it took at least one day for somebody to receive the mail. Now, today, because of this innovations in internet technology, we cannot even think that we can live without our mobiles, right? So it's going to be something like electricity or internet. And in next years to come, you will find that the blockchain technology has entered into your life like electricity or internet. So blockchain structure, what are important? One is a node, a user or a computer within the blockchain architecture. Each node has an independent copy of the full blockchain ledger. Everybody will have an independent copy. And remember that this is a decentralized distributed ledger. So the moment some change happens, that change is reflected in their local copy as well. Second, transaction, which is a basic building block of a blockchain system. The third, which is a block, which is a data structure that stores the set of transactions with distributed to all the nodes in the network. And chain is a sequence which builds the security in the system by connecting all the transactions of the next block to the transactions of the previous block. And then there are miners, which are specific nodes, not all nodes, which perform the block verification process before adding a new block to the blockchain structure. And finally, a test set of rules and arrangements to carry out blockchain operation is known as consensus. So with this, let's have a small break, mental break. And I ask you to check what is the current value of 1 Bitcoin. So I checked today, it's a 31,34,640 rupees, Indian rupees, as on today. What is a V? V is the smallest denomination of Ether. That is another cryptocurrency coin used for, which is used in Ethereum network. And 1 Ether is equal to 10 to the power 18 Vs. And what is a Satoshi? Satoshi Nakamoto, Satoshi is the actually smallest unit of cryptocurrency Bitcoin. And it is used in the Bitcoin network. So I request you to please find out how many Satoshis become 1 Bitcoin. Okay, so I give you a small 2 minutes break before we meet, right? So let's have a small break. And then if there are questions, I will be happy to answer your questions. Then we'll go ahead. Yes. So I can see some questions. 100 million Satoshi, yes, right. LHS is equal to RHS, yes, you're right. I will come to questions. Okay. You mentioned in your lecture the concept of timestamps. What is the meaning of that? We will come to that. What is meant by timestamps? Timestamps, basically, what happens there, because there can be, say, 6-7 miners who are participating in a block creation. And the person who claims that I have created a block, he will be first claiming, right? And another person will also be claiming almost simultaneously. And then people will start validating, verifying whether the results are correct or not. For the person whose blocks are validated and are found out to be correct, we put a timestamp on that. By we put a timestamp, I mean that the moment it is, say, validated by a node X, that everything is done in order, so then the block is created. So for that moment of time, the timestamp is recorded, because there can be other miners also. So who comes first is important here. That is one thing. The second thing, for single transaction, what happens, just give me a minute. For a single transaction, what happens, that if suppose this is for double spending. So if I'm making a transaction of, say, 1,000 rupees to party A, the moment I make this transaction at time step 1, and at time step 2, I'm making another transaction of, say, 500 rupees, whereas my pocket only allows me for 1,200 rupees. So that unless this timestamp is there, nobody will be able to validate or verify. So that's the reason we make use of timestamp. I hope I've cleared your thing. Some BCA fellow, name is not mentioned. And I think you have all participated perhaps in my previous blockchain technology course. What is the proof of stake? Proof of stake, Sanket, when Shrikant, when we come, we will tell you. Now, is there, if there is no centralized administration, then how the value is decided? I think I've explained you. 100 million Satoshi, yes, is equal to 1 Bitcoin, agree. Please repeat once again, consensus mechanism. So consensus mechanism is a mechanism that helps frame the rules for any network, right? So here the consensus mechanism is obtained through a proof of work, that whosoever solves that proof and provides a proof of work, whosoever solves that problem, that hard puzzle, and is able to find out a good candidate number for the block header, then that is validated by other miners, other members in the network. So that is what is a mechanism, that like somebody will solve the proof of work, somebody will solve the puzzle, he will provide a proof of work. That proof of work will be validated by miners, other members in the network. And whosoever is able to timestamp first and proof of work is completed, everything is done. So this all becomes a part of consensus mechanism. I hope I have made my point clear, Manish. And then which software is used when the transactions can be made? No, you make your own software for this. Somebody BCA PPU. There are 100 million Satoshis, 1 Bitcoin, agreed. How data or transaction details are stored internally? Data and transactions stored are internally as you wish them to be stored. Basically, they are stored internally in a Merkle tree structure. This Merkle tree is a good tree data structure which helps trace the all the previous connected transactions. Suppose I have got 1,000 rupees in my pocket. Now, from where these 1,000 rupees have come? So maybe 4 days ago, one of my friends gave me 100 rupees. Then my mother gave me 200 rupees. Then my father gives me 500 rupees. So 800, all these things. And then I made a transaction of these 800 rupees. So 200 rupees were spent. So again, 600 rupees. All these transactions, how they are maintained? They are maintained in the form of a data structure called Merkle tree. And its root is embedded in the block header of every block through the previous block header and previous block header. So it's a little complicated structure, but once you go into depth, you can see that. In the first lecture, maybe it's not very much possible to go into those details, but maybe in later lectures, there must be somebody who will tell you how they're stored. This, how blockchain can be used in IT companies. In IT companies, for example, for incentives provided in the form of bonus, the work done, suppose you have a huge software project and somebody has done his part, he claims that I've already done, but this fellow was not doing, so my project got delayed. Now everything will be time-stamped. The moment I complete, moment that is validated that it is completed, the software project will be having all the records. And then accordingly, incentives can be given. Total Satoshi currency in the blockchain network is 19 million Bitcoin into this. How a new block can be added? What should be the size of the block? I told you how a new block is added. What should be the size of the block? We will tell you, don't worry about it. Although you explained the concept of consensus mechanism, please try to explain again. I think I have already explained you. Then what is the proof of stake? I will tell you. You explained very well, but I have a short doubt. Please example a little bit. Example, kiska? Kis may explain. I'm not able to get your point. Explain what very well, but I have a short doubt. Where do you have a short doubt? Please write. Is it that each transaction of a different person is made together to form blocks and blockchain? Now, all the transactions, maybe that out of in a network of 10,000 people, 2 or 3 persons are more active, rest of them remain dormant. And they may make transactions once in a while. All these transactions are put in the blockchain. I will tell you, don't worry about it. Is blockchain a Japanese technology? No, it's not a Japanese technology. Is it solved manually or computer? No, but it cannot be solved manually. It is solved by computer. How we add block? Yes, all clear. Okay, thank you, Manish. How we add blocks in the blockchain? I think I have explained to you how do you add block, that once you have 10, 20 transactions, you put those transactions one in the sequence, and then you create a block by saying that I'm bundling all these transactions into one data structure, that is block. And this data will have this structure will have a header. This header will have a section. That section will contain the header of the previous block. So that is how it happens. Does blockchain be considered as cloud, which stores data? No, blockchain is not a cloud that stores data. Blockchain is a completely different technology. Data storage is done on the computers of the network, computers of the people who own the network, that means who are part of the network. So what happens, suppose you have a single laptop, but somebody is having, say, a huge workstation. So he provides his services of hardware storage. So storage problem is to some extent solved by the people in the network who say that, okay, I will provide services of my hardware, and in return, you give me the Bitcoin. Okay, so, and then there are other questions. How we added blocks, same questions. The proof of stake, I will not explain now. How to become a node of the blockchain. Crypto going to be conclude global and debt crisis replace dollar. I'm not an expert in that area. So I mean, we are more into blockchain technology, not on the cryptocurrency. So we are working on blockchain technology, not on cryptocurrency. Satoshi Nakamoto gave a way to make transaction for blockchain using blockchain technology. So Satoshi invented the concept of cryptocurrency. Yes, blockchain support robustness. No, you cannot delete transactions in the block. If it cannot be governed by a third party, then why the Indian governments are trying to regulate? See, in this way, I will be able to have good transaction between this without paying taxes. You know that the governments are run by collecting taxes from people who are getting services, different services, who are buying, who are selling. So if that is all gone, then don't you think all the governments will be running in losses, and so they will not be able to provide us the kind of infrastructure and all the services that we get from the government. The data is stored in Bitcoin. For that, we may be having another session perhaps, because for data storage, Bitcoin, I told you that in the clusters of computers which are there, if you do not have enough data storage capacity, you can take the services. And interplanetary file system is one of the examples. Okay. All right, so I go ahead with this, how a block composition is done. So I seek your attention, please. First, the first block in the chain. Suppose you create a blockchain network by inviting people to agree on certain consensus methods of consensus, something which is, say, it's a transaction of academic records of students, right? Suppose the institute says that from tomorrow onwards, if you need a transcript, don't worry about it. You simply log on to the system and use your roll numbers. You will be, the moment you will be able to, you will be given the access to your data, and that will be a trusted access from where you can take out your transcripts. And the moment you take out a transcript, which a transaction is made, money will be deducted from your wallet, right? So typical blockchain contains root node is the very first root node. What is root node? I didn't use root node, but root node, the very first transaction in the Merkle tree, that is the root of the Merkle tree transaction. So first block in the blockchain, the typical block contains previous hash value, current block data, current hash value, and a Merkle root hash value. So it's a Merkle root hash value, right? So previous hash value for the Genesis block is 0 because there's no previous first block. So the first block is created. It has current hash value, block 0, previous hash is 0, some input, some transaction, some output, right? So current hash value of the block identity is a cryptographic hash, which is known as number only used once. nonce. Number only used once. Yes, all transactions are can be traced using a Merkle root. So it helps in verifying that the block contains a proof of work. This hash value helps in verifying that a block contains. Manish, you can write your answer question here. So previous hash is the identity of the parent block of the block. Merkle root hash value is provides the link to all the previous transactions associated with a specific transaction, right? It provides a root to all the time. It is actually the hash value of the root of the Merkle tree that contains the records of all previous transactions. So let's take this example. Somebody was asking about timestamp. So this is the example. Here you can see that there's some transaction which is cryptographically, like you can see that here. And then here, so time is 3rd January 2009, Chancellor on the brink of this. So by an indirect way, Satoshi Nakamoto, it appeared that Satoshi Nakamoto is referring to this news, Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. But actually he wanted to, he or she, whosoever is he, wanted to put a timestamp on this first block of the Bitcoin blockchain network. So this is the first transaction. Nothing can be understood from here. Only the person who is receiver and the person who is spending or giving, they only know this because they have the public and private key available for them. No hash value, you know, that hash of any number can be found out, yeah. So it's a cryptographic hash that we use here, right? So people are writing to me, first node. What is node? Don't forget about the node. There is a root, right? The first transaction, right? So you know that any say you have various transactions that have taken place from here, right? So in order to record, in order to get, suppose this transaction is taking place, I would like to approach the node and then from here and then from here and so on and so forth. That is how it happens. So it is a simple thing, nothing very difficult. Yeah. So consider the following transaction. Let's take, I seek your attention, please. Timestamp T0. And so for the time being, I'm not going to look at your questions. Sita wallet has 2,500 rupees. Geeta's wallet has 1,000 rupees. Sita's wallet pays 500 rupees to Geeta's wallet. And then Geeta's wallet confirms that the receipt of 500 rupees are there. The timestamp T4, Sita's wallet has now 2,000 rupees. All this will be, all these are transactions that take place, right? So if I see the first block is created in this way, okay? And then the current hash will have first block is created. Input is Sita, rupees 2,500. Input Geeta, rupees 1,000. Transaction Sita pays Geeta 500 rupees. And the output will be there, right? So all this will be there. Now this block one will have a header value, which will be containing the header value of previous block. So older the block, more secure it is, because the data gets embedded deeper in each block. You can see what happens that this block will contain this header, and this block's header will be contained in this block. So you can see that it will keep on getting embedded, and that is how blocks are created. So let's take a digitally signed transaction. So an example, if I consider a Bitcoin transaction will have a digitally signed, like I'm digitally signing 500 rupees payment, transaction data that is broadcast to the Bitcoin network. If it is validated, it forms a block in the blockchain. Purpose is to transfer ownership of a Bitcoin amount to another Bitcoin address. Main components of a typical transaction include transaction ID, descriptors and metadata, inputs, outputs, and let's go to a Bitcoin Explorer. Just a minute, give me a minute. Somehow by mistake I unshared this. So let's go to a Bitcoin Explorer to see what is what. Okay, so you can see here, this is a live Bitcoin Explorer. Here you can see that the values are given. Let me take Indian rupees. So you can see the morning it was 34 lakhs perhaps. Now it is 33 lakhs. So this is a size. These are, you can see latest blocks which are there. I hope you can see that. So this is the latest block. Its height is this much. 23 minutes ago, it was mined by somebody who is unknown. And the size of the block was 114833. So you can see that the size of the blocks may differ. Somebody was asking how many transactions we can put. The size may differ, right? So, so the address has, now this address, this is the address. This address has transacted 6,944 times on the Bitcoin blockchain. That means it is a very active address. It has received a total of these many Bitcoins, rupees. You can see how many rupees. I cannot even go through those numbers. Transactions are this total received. So now what is the transaction? Now fee, so you can see the hash. So just a minute. I go back. I go to this, I was talking about this miner now. You please click here, height. When you go to height, you see this block, how the block is constituted. Right. So this is block number 733129, but this is not the block header. The block header is this. Block header is this. And the proof, basically puzzle is on how many zeros should be inserted here so that this becomes a valid address, right? So below a difficulty level, how many zeros should be there? Now you can see there is a confirmation of this block. There is a timestamp. Timestamp is given, yeah, 11:28 on 23rd 4th. Height is this. Miner is unknown. Number of transactions are 139. Difficulty level is given here. Merkle root is given. Merkle root address is given here. Then number of bits. What is the weight? What is the size? The number only used once. This nonce is also given here. Transaction volume is given here. Is the 113 Bitcoin. Block reward. You can imagine the kind of reward they get. It's a 6.25 BTC. For 1 BTC, you saw about 33 lakhs. So that's, you can see how much they have gained in one block creation. Fee reward is there, and there can be many things that are given. Okay. So this is about block. I go back to Bitcoin Explorer. I go back here. And I would like to tell you that this mempool size is the aggressive size of unconfirmed transactions. So you can see that right now transactions are going low, but on you can see that these are all unconfirmed transactions. The price is also like, you can see that the price was here and then it went down and so on and so forth. All right. So you can now see that there can be many things which are there. All right. So I go ahead. I don't know, it does not allow me to go forward. So typically what happens, you have a transaction ID in the block, descriptor and metadata. This contains descriptor and metadata. Then you have an input data, you have an output data, a lot of things are there. But important to note is that any Bitcoin amount is always sent to an address, right? A Bitcoin address, that is the receiver. Any received Bitcoin amount is locked to the receiving address. That means it is associated with that wallet usually. And any spent amount of a Bitcoin from a wallet is from funds previously received and currently present in the wallet, right? Address receives Bitcoin, but they do not send Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is sent from a wallet. And the balance is the sum of all the received and unspent transactions. But each received amount in a wallet is separately recorded and remains distinct. Like, suppose I've got 1,000 rupees. So it will be like this, that out of this 1,000 rupees, 300 rupees I'll keep separate. My father gave me 500 rupees, my mother gave me 200 rupees I earned from some other source, right? So like this. All right, so let's take this example. So suppose I have got this wallet in which I have balance. I have balance of say 3.21 Bitcoin. So how this is stored? 3 from somebody, say you, 0.01 from Alice, and 0.2 from Alice, I mean, at different points of time. So 2 people send amounts to address held by a Bitcoin wallet. So initially I had 1, and then people are sending. Now, so an output is an amount that is sent to Bitcoin address through a standard validation process, validated process. To unlock the output amount, the receiver uses a private key associated with its address. The Bitcoin network uses the term unspent transaction output, or UTXO, to define the output. So each address has its own associated public-private key pair used to encrypt or decrypt the transaction or cryptocurrency, right? So let us take an example. So suppose you have to make transactions, okay? So you have got 3.21. You want to make a transaction of 0.2, right? You have input 0.2 and the output is also 0.2, right? So what happens? But you are actually making to Geeta an output, you are making a transaction of 0.15 BTC to Geeta, right? So what is happening is that Sita is having 3.21 total wallet in her wallet. From here, because she has to make a payment of 0.15 BTC, she will be using this amount, which she has received from somewhere, from Alice, say, and this she will be showing that this is my transaction input, and the transaction output is also 2. How? Because I will be making a transaction of 0.15 to Geeta, and this 0.05 will go back to my wallet. It will go back to my wallet. So this amount, this is here, goes back to my wallet, and the new state of the wallet becomes 0.01 and 0.05. This becomes the new state, right? That is how it happens. So generates 2 outputs, send to Geeta's address and 0.05 to your wallet as the change, new output. So every single output is known as unspent transaction output, right? As can be seen here. All right, so suppose let's take this example. How does it happen? Suppose David wants to send Bitcoins to Sandra. He broadcasts the message to the network to make changes, like deduct 5 BTC from David's account and increase 5 BTC to Sandra's account. Each node in the Bitcoin network receives the message and updates the account balance as per the requested transaction message. And each node passes on the message to its adjacent node, right? So this is how it happens. So you have this ledger. You can see here the Sandra's account is 83. After transaction, it becomes 88. And David's account was 187. It becomes 182. So David sends this. This is a transaction request message. This is broadcasted in the network, and each node receives the transaction request message, updates its own copy of the ledger, and passes on the message to the nearby network. That is what happens. So, David broadcasts the message with the private key of his wallet. That is digital signature. David is the only one who is who can spend BTCs from his wallet as the owner of the private key of his wallet. And each node in the network verifies the source of the transaction request and its authenticity. For this, one need to decrypt the message by a public key of David's wallet, right? So what happens that David has his private key, David has its public key. Public key is well known, is given to all the people in the network. He encrypts the message and people are able to see that, okay, somebody that they do not know what is David, who is David. There's somebody is doing it, whose address is XYZ, right? And whose wallet address is associated with his address. So how to know the account balance? I hope you know that the blockchain does not keep. Now you know that does not keep the record of the account balances. It only records each and every transaction that is verified and approved. To determine a wallet balance, the node needs to analyze and verify all the transactions that happened with that node. So by node, I mean here, by node, I do not mean the Merkle tree node or something. By node, I mean a member in the network. Somebody was asking some node questions on node. I couldn't understand what exactly was the question. I'm sorry if I could not answer. So no, actually your question is not clear. So I'm so sorry, I cannot. You examples very well, Bitcoin transaction. Please explain a little bit, madam. So this is not, this little bit is not understood to me. So I'm extremely sorry. Somebody is writing. So let me, I think you can, I will share with you my PPTs so that you can later read it yourself. Because in the first chance, it is not very much possible to know each and to understand each and everything very thoroughly. Why? Because our mindset is made in such a way that we cannot even think of any decentralized system like Bitcoin, right? So many a times, you know, there's different mechanisms are there. Somebody is saying UTXO again, please explain. So what is happening, like you have got, see, as I told you that I have got 3.21, right? My account balance. But this 3.21 only I will know. The people in the network, they know that I received 0.2 from say Alice at timestamp T1. I also received 0.01 from Alice at timestamp T2, and I received somewhere else 3.0, maybe at timestamp T0. So this made a total of 3.21. The moment I say that I want to make a payment of 0.15, I will be either using this UTXO, unspent transaction account amount, or this 0.01 or 3. So because 0.2 is greater than 0.15, as an owner of my wallet, what I will be using this. So it has a transaction ID. So this is suppose ID1. I will say that I am using ID1, which is having 0.2 as the UTXO value. And from this, I want to give 0.15 to, say, Geeta, right? And 0.05 will go back to my own account, my account, right? So the persons are not concerned, who are in the network are not concerned with what is happening with this account. They will only verify what is the source of this 0.2, what is the ID. This ID will help them locate that this 0.2 still exists and it has not been further broken in any other account, right? So in any other transaction. So I'm proposing that please do this change, right? And then after verification and validation, this 0.15 will have its own ID, say ID2. This ID2, transaction ID2 will be going to Geeta's wallet. And this 0.05 will be ID3, which will be going back to my wallet, 0.05. This will be ID3. So now my account will be having 3.0. It was having some ID, right? Some ID. And then 0.01, another ID, right? And then 0.05, a third ID. That is how it happened. All these are UTXO, unspent transaction outputs. Is that clear? You are asking several questions. We will, whenever we come to those points, we will tell you. Scalable blockchain, right now, Bitcoin is not that much scalable because of the proof of work, but other Ethereum and others are more scalable. How to know the account balance, I've already told you. And then this is the characteristics of blockchain. First of all, it is immutable. Second, there is no intermediary. The third, highly secure. Why? Because we are having cryptographic hash values and it's a very secure method. We are using elliptic curve cryptography. Transparency. Every single transaction is publicly announced. Privacy preserving. Nobody will ever know who is this unknown, as I told you. Scalability and availability. So scalability is an issue that is being discussed, but ideally it's scalable right now. It has got so many of nodes. And it is available because what happens that the node is always alive. So it is available. Immutable means it cannot be tempered, right? Now we come to third important portion, blockchain evolution. And I take a minute. Scalability, everybody should know. Somebody is asking what is scalable. So you can have as many transactions as possible, as many people can be added as possible. So that is a scalability. And that should be done without any delay in service. I give you a minute, please. Okay, so I come back with evolution, history of evolution of blockchain. So initial work on blockchain concept, if we look at it, it is not in 2008 or 9. In 1991, Haber and Stoneta, they gave the concept of a cryptographically secure, computationally practical procedure having a chain of blocks for digital time stamping of documents, so that forgery, it was made to tamper proof, like copy pasting something, collusion with the timestamps services was not possible. Then Haber and Stoneta with Bayer came out with the concept of incorporation of Merkle tree to store the data in a very systematic way so that it can be accessed very easily, right? So it improved the efficiency by allowing several document certificates to be collected into one block. But then in 2008, when there was a time of global recession, Satoshi Nakamoto came out with the concept of this digital gold or digital currency called Bitcoin, and blockchain was its backbone technology. So due to tremendous success of Bitcoin in initial years, several enhancements and alternatives were proposed by researchers. And second generation blockchain network, Ethereum, was proposed in 2013 by a young guy of 19 years called Buterin. He was only 19. This introduced the concept of a smart contract, right? So Ethereum comes up with a concept of a smart contract. Ethereum allows single programmable blockchain network to develop different types of applications instead of separate blockchain for each application, right? So like Bitcoin cryptocurrency trade is done through a single network, and you cannot do any other trade on this. Only Bitcoin cryptocurrency exchange you can do on Bitcoin network. But Ethereum comes out with a very beautiful proposal and framework that the network is the same, but you can have purely Ethereum transaction. You can have, say, a supply chain management. You can have anything that you want on the same network with different applications having different smart contracts. So that means for transactions of Ethereum cryptocurrency, I will be having a different contract between different parties. For say some vegetable supply chain management, the same network will be there, but I will be having a different terms of agreement. So those terms of agreement are written in what is known as a smart contract, right? So instead of separate blockchain for each type of this, each application forms a smart contract in its block, right? So the first functional implementation of Ethereum was done by Gavin Wood by proposing a Solidity language. And with this evolution now, Ethereum is a global open source platform for decentralized applications. On Ethereum, you can write code that controls the digital value and runs exactly as programmed and is accessible anywhere in the world, right? So Ethereum, like Bitcoin, has an optional and a special feature called scripts for conditional transfer of digital currency. But Ethereum extends the scripting features of Bitcoin into a very comprehensive code execution framework by putting into contract all those who wish to be in contract or a terms of agreement on, say, some exchange of some other good, not only cryptocurrency. That is known as a smart contract. So smart contracts provides a powerful platform for code execution to embed business logic. So it's for smart contract is the terms of agreement or the business logic, which is coded, hard coded. So Ethereum Foundation runs the Ethereum project. Ethereum project is one of the first blockchain networks developed as a general purpose blockchain, not only for cryptocurrency, for general purpose. And Ethereum initially used proof of work, but now it has come out with a proof of stake. So somebody was asking, what is proof of stake? So suppose I have got, say, in the society, which people are known to have a higher stake? If it is in the concept, if it is money-wise, then those who are richer will be called having a higher stake. Some people who earn reputation by their works, they are having a higher stake. So the proof of stake is based on the validations provided by people who have higher stake. That is the concept of proof of stake. I will not go into details. Perhaps somebody will tell you in details in a later class. So based on the business logic, there are three major types of blockchain. First is those who only deal with cryptocurrency, right? Ethereum blockchain, like the Bitcoin. You have Ethereum blockchain that only deals with, that may only deal with, say, Ethereum Ethereum exchange. Blockchains dealing with cryptocurrency and a business logic, like from suppose selling and purchasing of houses, that will involve cryptocurrency as well as blockchain. So Ethereum is one such type, and blockchain supporting only like software execution for purely for business logic, no cryptocurrency required, not dealing with any currency. The Linux Foundation has started this concept, which is known as a hyperledger. So hyperledger is an example of such a blockchain without using any cryptocurrency. So scope of a smart contract can be as simple as transaction of money between you, or it can be as complicated as the say, for example, Ola, Uber, like the network of drivers, the network of people who want Ola, Uber, and then whosoever is closer and whosoever is charging less, all these things, the time and the money, all this can be hard coded in a smart contract. So there are three types of blockchains. One is public, like the Bitcoin is a public, Ethereum is a public. One can be private. Suppose for my institute, for MES payment and services, I wish to introduce a blockchain service, then that will be private within the institute. Permissioned. There can be several organizations who take part in some activity, and so we create a blockchain for that. It can be donation, or it can be funding the startups. So there can be many people who come forward, they fund, and there are people who take the funds, and so they have to show the progress every now and then based on the smart contract where the agreement was made, and these are known as permissioned, because they are some only with permission you can log on to that blockchain. So the key components of Ethereum system are: one, Ethereum virtual machine. So it's a runtime environment for a smart contract. Because you are running a smart contract, you should have a runtime environment. So how this machine is created? By looking at the resources in the network. There can be, suppose I'm offering my resource, that becomes a part of, say, storage resource. If you are offering the computing resource, that becomes a part of the computing resource. So the union of all these becomes the virtual machine, right? So network protocol to peer-to-peer network. Broadly speaking, Ethereum consists of, say, accounts, like my account, your account, state of the network, gas and incentives. What is gas? Gas means, suppose you are doing a computation, right? And for that computation, you are making use of someone else's hardware resource. You do not know. There is Ethereum virtual machine, and Ethereum virtual machine keeps a pool of, say, computing resources of all the people in the network. And suppose you are using the Ethereum virtual machine. So because you are using the resources, you must pay. So how is that paid? So first, suppose, say you are performing, say, 5 million multiplications and 2 million additions. So these 5 million multiplications and additions will be requiring the time, the computing time, the computing resource that is required. Accordingly, the fuel is decided. That fuel is known as gas. Gas and incentives. Those who are providing their resources will be paid incentives. Those who are receiving, those who are getting the services will be paying the gas, paying the amount corresponding to the gas utilized, right? Transaction, like my household gas, sometimes it will be 800 rupees, sometimes it will be 1000 rupees, sometimes it will be 700 rupees. But for amount may change, but for making tea for 2 people, I will be using the same amount of gas throughout, right? So amount may change, but the gas will remain the same for transactions and blocks, transaction execution, mining, proof of work. So probably I'll be getting a little time, I don't know, to discuss this. So I'm going a little fast now. No, that's what I told. Gas and incentives are not same. Gas is the amount of resource utilized, and incentive is the amount paid to this, amount paid to the person. There are 2 types of accounts. One is known as externally owned account, and the other is known as contract account, right? And if you see, externally owned account will have its own address, account keys, ether balance, whereas, so what is the difference between externally owned account and contract account? Contract account is associated with a smart contract, and externally owned account can be yours and mine. So they can initiate transaction, externally owned account, but contract account cannot initiate a transaction. It can only ask for some function, running some function. Like contract is like you have a program which is asking another program to run a function, right? So it is fired in response to transactions set in motion by externally owned accounts. So contract cannot initiate any transaction, but it can initiate an internal transaction between 2 contracts. Whereas externally owned account can initiate a transaction between with a contract or with another externally owned account. So every action in Ethereum requires crypto fuel or gas. Gas points are used to specify the fee. Gas points specify transaction fee and computation fee independent of cryptocurrency. As I told you, that the amount of gas to cook a 2-person's tea will always remain the same, but the price of gas may change. So Ethereum has specified gas points for each type of operation. And what happens that, let me give you an example. Just a minute. Let's take this example. The sender is sending, making transaction. So some transaction is started. So this transaction will require some fuel, that is the amount of resources. So suppose it has sent some transaction request with an estimate that, okay, it will require some 250 units of gas, 250 units of gas. So 50 units are utilized. Then again, another operation takes place, another 30 units are utilized. Transaction ends. I still have, say, 170 gas units available. This remaining gas units are transferred back to the sender's unit, and the receiver, upon the completion of the transaction, receives the transacted output, right? So that is how it happens. But if suppose there is not enough gas, in that case, let's see what happens. So I've got 250. First operation uses gas, second operation also uses gas, third operation also uses gas, and suppose this 250 units are all exhausted, right? So with the transaction proposal, I will be telling that I'm ready to pay 250 rupees, right? 250 units of gas. Whatever cost is there for 250 units of gas, I will be ready to pay. But suppose my transaction uses so many operations that it is out of gas. So what happens that the state of the network, because I used operation 1, so I deducted 5 rupees from your UTXO1. I deducted another 5 rupees from your UTXO2. And then I find that, okay, this operation is exhausting the gas. So every state is reverted, right? And the receiver does not get anything. And the sender also doesn't get anything. Why? Because the gas is already exhausted. So I end this session by saying that we discussed 2 different types of blockchain blockchains for different purposes. One is Bitcoin, the other is Ethereum. Bitcoin, the basic concept was digital cash transaction, but Ethereum deals with not only with cash transaction, but also with the agreement between 2 parties for their business logic in terms of a smart contract. Transactions in case of Bitcoin is direct peer-to-peer, whereas in case of Ethereum, it is a conditional contract between peer-to-peer. It was released, Bitcoin was released in 2009 Jan, whereas Ethereum in 2015 July. Release method was early mining initially, and here the Ethereum was released using a pre-sale, like people who would like to have their stake, and they made their bids, and accordingly that was sale. So, well, this is an old, very old record. So what is a smart contract? It's a digital agreement, as I told you. It includes the set of executable functions and state variable. And remember that once the smart contract goes live on the network, you cannot change. So a smart contract should be very carefully written. They should be having simple logic. They should be modular so that there is no mistake, because one bug can lead to lakhs and lakhs of rupees of loss for you. So I will not go into details of this. Suppose a house is to be rented by Sita, who has the digital key of the house, and Geeta also sets up an escrow smart contract, make the required deposit. So what happens that only when the digital key works, the renter and the rentee will be having an agreement. Only when the digital key works, Geeta will pay. But how does Sita know? Sita knows that Geeta will pay. So there is something called escrow account, which is there with Geeta's account associated. That will not be paid to Sita, but because there is an agreement between the 2 parties, so this contract will automatically execute once Geeta puts on the digital key and finds that is working. So it will be associated with the digital key, right? Knowledge of Ethereum in this workshop that I think Rifakat Ali sir will be telling you more, because I have been invited to take to deliver one lecture. So I'm not very sure, but I take this course in my 40 hours lecture and lab courses, which is too much lab intensive. We definitely work on Ethereum and Hyperledger.
Hello.
Uh,
Here we end this session, and we will start our session at 3 p.m.
With the same link.
Okay.
Same link.
Okay, everyone. So here we are going to stop this meeting, and thank you so much for giving your time and be here. Okay, so let's meet at 3 p.m.
Hello.